Welcome to Building Business, Connections in Accounting, the second event in our Lundquist College of Business Digital Speaker Series. We are so delighted that you've joined us. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sarah Nutter, the Edward Miletus Dean of the College of Business. I'm also a professor of accounting at the college and earned my PhD from Michigan State, and also worked for the IRS as an economist. So, unsurprisingly, accounting is near and dear to me, and I am so excited as we will be sharing with you today updates from the School of Accounting and the really vital role that the school is playing in our vision to become the top destination for undergraduate business education on the West Coast. In fact, just recently, the Lundquist College of Business was ranked number 28 among public universities, business schools in the US and 44 overall, jumping 6 places in the annual US News rankings. We're also in the elite 1.5% of business schools worldwide that are accredited not just in business, but also in accounting. And our accounting faculty rocks. They rank number 1 in the world for tax accounting research over the past 12 years and second over the past 6 years. So today's event, even though we can't be together in person, we wanted to highlight and celebrate the School of Accounting. I've asked Ryan Wilson, the director of the School of Accounting, and the Richard W. Lindholm Distinguished Professor of Taxation, to join us today. In addition to sharing an overview of everything the School of Accounting has accomplished in the past year, Ryan will provide an update on our Accounting Circle membership and all that they have supported through their generous gifts to our accounting students, faculty, and programs. The Accounting Circle are an elite set of business leaders and alumni who have made an annual commitment to invest in accounting education at the University of Oregon. The Circle is the School of Accounting's strongest link to the accounting profession and business community, and a leader really within the college in connecting our students to great jobs. Ryan will also interview a couple of outstanding accounting students who will discuss their experiences in the program, as well as how they and we are all adapting to a virtual learning environment. Finally, we've asked Chris Bennett, a Senior Associate Director of Career Engagement in More Career Services, to join us. Chris is truly a key team member for the college, helping to grow and develop More Career Services into an amazing and tremendous resource for our students. Chris will share with you a new platform that we are so excited that we've been able to launch to connect our students and alumni. It's called Lundquist Connect. This platform was developed by More Career Services. Excuse me for just a moment. More Career Services. And I really wanted to especially reach out and thank Jay Moore, who's actually joining us today. Lundquist Connect allows students to initiate contact with alumni and potential employers for conversations, tips, or general information. And what's truly exciting is, though we've just barely launched, more than 550 alumni have already signed up, with people representing 6 continents and 33 US states. And with that, I'd really like to introduce and tell you a little bit more about Ryan. Ryan's a rock star in the world of accounting. Not only is he a professor of accounting, he's also an alumnus of the accounting program here at the Lundquist College of Business. So I guess we get to claim him in multiple ways. He went on to earn his PhD in accounting at the University of Washington. We forgive you for that, and so are so delighted that you're back with us. He taught for several years at the University of Iowa before returning to Eugene and joining the college in 2014. And remember that number 1 ranking in tax accounting research I told you about? Well, Ryan's incredibly Significant contributions to the field in this area are a large part of why our faculty reached that top spot. In fact, he routinely earns outstanding paper awards, but beyond that, is now an editor at the Journal of the American Taxation Association. So it is with great pleasure that I introduced a homegrown accounting professor that truly is exceptional, Ryan Wilson.
Right. Thank you, Sarah, for that kind introduction. Excited to be here. So a little bit of the plan here is I'm going to give some updates and highlights on the School of Accounting, things we're excited about that have happened over the past year and going into next year. After that, I'm going to kick it over to Chris Bennett, who's going to talk a little bit about this new alumni mentoring program, Lundquist Connect, which we're all excited about. Then Chris will kick it back over to me, and I'm going to do a Q&A with two of our very best students just about their experiences in life during the pandemic and with remote learning. So hopefully that'll be kind of fun at the end. If you have questions, you can put them into the Q&A feature, type them in there, and I will take questions at the end after I do the Q&A with our two students. So I may not have answers to those questions, and they ask me not to make stuff up, but I'll do my best. So, a little bit of the backstory on this meeting. So tonight's meeting and the update and highlights are kind of in lieu of our traditional fall accounting circle meeting, and we usually plan that meeting on a Saturday to correspond with the Ducks tackle football games. The way it works is we usually have the meeting in the morning, and the director of the school provides some updates and highlights, and then very often we'll have a distinguished speaker at that event and all of our accounting circle members, and then we will adjourn the event, and the Ducks will go over and we'll tailgate, and the Ducks will beat some hapless opponent in the Pac-12, and we'll celebrate the victory. My most vivid memory of that was about 4 years ago. We set the meeting during a game against Cal, and of course we beat them. We always beat Cal, but what I most remember about that was that it was like biblical rain. I think it rained like 11 inches of that game. I thought it was the end of the world. So I'll certainly never forget that day or that accounting circle meeting. So we're looking forward to getting back to that tradition next fall, and I can't wait to see all of you in person at that point in time. So, all right, so let's jump into some of the accounting department highlights. Okay. One of the things we were most proud of this year was we were able to award more than $290,000 in scholarships to our undergraduate students and to our master's students this year. That was a record for us in the School of Accounting. And these scholarship awards are so meaningful for our students. You know, because of the career opportunities in accounting, we end up attracting a lot of students who are paying their own way through school, working very, very hard. Really dedicated students, a lot of first generation college students. And so, you know, I can say personally, these scholarships make a huge difference to our students, and we appreciate the support of our alumni and of our accounting circle members in providing this. And it was just a great year in that regard. Another thing we've done is we're moving to integrate our undergraduate and master's program a little bit more. What we found is that a lot of our undergraduate students, being highly motivated and students, they come in with advanced placement credits or international baccalaureate credits when they enter into our program. And so they're able to get their undergraduate in 3.5 years, 3 years and a quarter, 3 years and 2 quarters, and they would like to be able to start working on some of the master's classes. And we really feel like we have some of our highest quality classes in terms of content embedded into the master's program. And so we're now integrating that so that those students can start taking some of the master's classes when they're in their final year of the undergraduate, which we think will be really attractive to our students. It may allow them to complete the master's early, could potentially allow them in the future to maybe even do an internship during their year in the master's program, because they will have taken some of the courses during their 4th year as an undergraduate student. So we're really excited about that development in the master's program. We're also very proud on the faculty front. Dane Christensen was named the Thomas C. Stewart Distinguished Professor for 2020. Dane has had a very impressive run of research publications over the last couple of years. You know, Sarah talked a little bit about sort of the research aspect of the School of Accounting. You know, a lot of these top journals in our field have acceptance rates below 10%. And typically these research studies take a long time, 4 or 5 years to develop. And it's really impressive when you look at the number of papers Dane's been able to publish in the very top journals over the last couple of years. It's hard to fathom. He's been very, very productive. And we were even doubly proud in that it was a back-to-back win for the School of Accounting, getting this research award from the college, because Dane takes over from Kyle Peterson, who won the award in 2019. So we're really proud of that. Also on the faculty front, we were excited that Brady Tweed, who's a relatively new hire, we stole Brady a couple years ago from Indiana University, was promoted to associate professor with tenure this fall. So very, very proud of Brady. On the student front, we were very happy for our master's student, Brendan Toller-Payne, who was selected for the PCAOB scholarship. He will receive $10,000 in support this year as he completes the master's program. We were also proud, as Sarah mentioned, we continue to be ranked #1 in tax accounting research over the past 12 years by BYU, which is great. You know, I think what is most impressive to me about that, or staggering, is we're ranked highly across the board. We're ranked very highly in financial accounting research and accounting theory research. We're always, I think, punching above our weight. And a lot of that is because of the support that we get from our alumni and the outstanding students that we have in the program. But these rankings are not scaled by the size of the program. So we're competing. It's based on aggregate publications in top research outlets. So we're competing against schools like Indiana University or University of Texas that have more than twice as many accounting faculty members as we do. So our ability to match them blow for blow, I think, is pretty impressive. The other cool thing about our faculty is we all kind of work interdisciplinary, and so we have a lot of our financial accounting scholars who contribute to the tax side of the house, and vice versa. So that's one of the things I really love about being here at Oregon. You may be wondering, who is this guy? What happened to Angie and Dave, the two past directors of the School of Accounting over the last dozen years? Angie has moved on to the dean's office. She is now the senior associate dean for academic programs, which is wonderful for the college. She's going to be great in that role. I'm really looking forward to working with her, and I'm excited that she has that position. And Dave is still on the faculty, and he's still here to keep me out of trouble and keep me in line. But he was the director, as many of you know, for the last 10 years, and overall, I think, for 11 years. So they've been the leaders of the college for a long time. They both were absolutely tremendous. They did a great job growing the School of Accounting. And I was a little nervous taking over for them, but I'm also proud. You know, as Sarah said, I'm an alumni undergraduate class of 1999. So it's an honor to take it over. And you know, we still have a lot of the old leadership structure that a lot of you are familiar with. Robin Clement is still running our master's program, and she does an awesome job with that. Linda Kroll is still running the PhD program, and Michelle Henney is still our student engagement coordinator. So all those people together will keep me on track. So I'm excited to take the position. I'm glad that Angie and Dave are still here in the college to help me out. Also exciting, the master's program has turned 20. So I graduated the year before. Helen Gernon and Dale Morse started the master's program in 2000 in response to the Board of Accountancy's increase in the credit requirements to sit for the CPA exam. The program has evolved a lot over the years. We added an advanced data analytics course to the program this year, which is something they probably didn't contemplate back in 2000 when they launched the program. We also had our biggest class this year. We were up to, I think, about 45 students. So the program is doing really well. It's continued to evolve. Robin took over from Helen, I think, in 2004, and has been doing an awesome job running the program ever since then. So we're excited to kind of celebrate. Here, there's some serious animation there to celebrate 20 years of the master's program. I want to talk a little bit about the accounting circle, because this would normally be where we'd have our accounting circle meeting. All of our faculty are so grateful for the existence of the accounting circle, which is started by Helen Gernon, and for the support that's provided by the members of the accounting circle. that really that support is what has allowed us to punch above our weight, I think, for so long in providing an excellent experience for our students and also excellence in scholarships. So the support means a lot to us. If you're not currently a member of the Accounting Circle, I would just encourage you to consider joining the circle. There are a couple different levels, so here's some information. I'm not going to walk through it in detail on the different membership levels that are available, but you can join. It's really easy. You can do it online. If you go to the website that's listed there and click on Give Now for the School of Accounting Fund. Equally, I would welcome email from you if you're interested. I can help you out with that as well. So we're all of the faculty here are very grateful for this, and the new faculty that we've hired over the last dozen years, I think, are really impressed with the structure that's here at Oregon, the support we get from our alumni. We don't maybe get as much state support as some of these other universities, as I'm sure many of you know, but it's the Accounting Circle that helps us compete and continue to run an excellent program. All right, and next up, I'm going to kick it over to Chris Bennett. Chris is in More Career Services here in the College of Business. He is the leader of the career engagement group within More Career Services, and so their job is to sort of mentor our students through that career development process and to connect them with alumni who can serve as mentors as well as peer mentors. Chris has been involved in a lot of initiatives within the Lundquist College. Lundquist Connect is one of the latest and one of the ones that we're most excited about. So with that, I will turn it over to Chris.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm glad to be here this evening with everyone and to share this new resource for students and alumni of the college. So just to give you an overview initially, Lundquist Connect is an online tool that we've designed to help Lundquist students and alumni build connections in support of their careers. We just launched it this past September and have been really pleased by the initial uptake, both from the alumni community and from students. You can find the website at lundquistconnect.uoregon.edu. We'll be dropping that link into the chat feature here shortly as well. Lundquist Connect is supported by a software program called People Grove. This is a San Francisco-based company founded about 7 years ago, and they work with business schools and universities across the country and in fact around the world, including Stanford Graduate School of Business, Wharton, UW, Michigan State, and so on. And so we're really excited to be able to bring this resource to the Lundquist community. I'm going to take a few minutes this evening to walk you through the platform and kind of explain the value that the platform offers our students and alumni. So we really took into account a number of needs as we started building this platform out. And the first of these is really focused on driving student career outcomes. That's a major focus of ours in More Career Services. And we know that students get jobs through personal connections. So Lundquist Connect is really designed to help students explore careers and build those personal connections, build those relationships that lead to their next step. Closely related to that is providing students with warm leads. Networking can be scary, especially if you're a new student and you're just getting started in that process. And so one of the things we really wanted to try to do with Lundquist Connect is present students with a community of individuals who have specifically raised their hand and said, I want to help. I want to help students, because that can really help reduce the fear associated with networking. If you know that the person you're reaching out has already said, yeah, I'm here, come on, reach out. Compare that to, say, LinkedIn, where there's a tremendous network there, but you never know when you contact somebody on that platform, whether they really want to hear from you. A third really important goal for Lundquist Connect is equitable access. As you all know, when you join the college, you're joining an incredibly generous and supportive community of alumni, friends, employers, and so on. And from an equity perspective, access to this network shouldn't rely on who a student knows within the college. And so with Lundquist Connect, we're making this significant value proposition that the college offers available to all of our students. Also, on the alumni side, looking at Lundquist Connect as a way to engage alumni at scale. As I've already mentioned, our alumni are incredibly generous, many of you, of course, among them. And Lundquist Connect gives us a single place to direct this energy towards, a front door, if you will. I know many of us here, folks raise their hands and say, hey, I'd love to talk to a student or, present to a club or offer a project. And now we have a place where as you join Lundquist Connect, you can indicate, here are the different ways, in addition to connecting with students on this platform, that I'm interested in helping. And so it'll really help us make sure that we're availing ourselves of the broad generosity of the alumni community. And something that we actually hadn't thought about back about a year ago when we first started work on this was the importance of having a remote and virtual tool for students. And so as we've moved into remote operations in response to COVID-19, Lundquist Connect really gives us a tool where we can provide students so that they can continue the important work of advancing their careers even as we're separated physically. And so I think that the timing of this it couldn't be better in terms of really needing a way to help our students connect virtually. So I think there's a really good way to think about the different ways that Lundquist Connect supports students and alumni. And so that within that, there's really 4 ways to connect. The first of those is networking. So this is the sort of informal connections that often come about for purposes of, say, informational interviews or just a quick conversation over a coffee. And so there's an easy way for students and alumni in the platform to identify somebody, reach out, and start that kind of conversation. The second way of connecting the platform is a more formal mentoring program. This is sort of a structured approach to mentoring. It's something we've done without the support of technology with different student groups in the college. And basically you take a group of students and a group of mentors and you match them up for an extended period of time, say a term or a year, usually for some sort of goal-driven conversation, often deeper work, really exploring, some significant career-related issues. So we're actually doing that this term with our Masters of Science in Finance program, where we're matching students in that program with mentors who are recent alumni, where they're actually taking content in their class that they're a professional development course, discussing it with their mentors, giving them a little more perspective on these topics, and then bringing the insights that they're getting from their conversations with their mentors back into the class. And so that's a really exciting pilot of that functionality and something we're looking forward to building out on as we go forward. A third way to connect within Lundquist Connect is through discussions. And this is an opportunity where anybody in the platform can post a question and crowdsource responses. So this is a nice low stakes, sort of easy point of entry for somebody to get a feel for the community, get a sense of what's going on, and ask or respond to questions. And then the fourth way of connecting is groups. And I think of this as sort of a community within a community, where a group of folks with a shared interest or a shared identity can connect and have discussions, connect with each other, share resources, and so on. So this is something that we're holding off on launching, but should come online in the next couple months. And it may be, for example, people with interest in a career in public accounting or working in San Francisco, or maybe it's women in finance or something like that. And so we're working on a strategy around that, but look forward to rolling those groups out in the next couple months. So I'm going to jump into the platform now and show you around some of the functionality. I don't have time to show you everything, but I'll focus on a couple of pieces that you can engage with immediately when you create an account. So there is, as I mentioned, a URL. It's lundquistconnect.uoregon.edu. It also links from several of the Lundquist College web pages. So if you forget it, just do a quick search and it should come up. Alumni and many of our friends of the college are pre-approved. So when you enter the platform, you should be able to log in and create an account. You can do that either with your email address or you can use your LinkedIn credentials. So it's one less password for you to have to remember. And either way, as you go through the onboarding process, you're actually invited to connect to your LinkedIn account so you can bring in your LinkedIn profile and you don't have to create a whole new online profile within Lundquist Connect. Once you've created your account, there's a quick series of onboarding questions that help the system connect you with others who have shared interests or shared experience. Once you're logged in, this is the homepage. This is actually the student view. The alumni view is a little bit different. Just they're going through some redesign, but this is where they're headed towards in the design. And what I really like about this landing page is it moves students to immediate action and connection by highlighting right in the center some suggested contacts, and then just below that some existing conversations and maybe a prompt that I ought to follow up with somebody that I reached out to a little while back. And you'll note along the top here 4 ways to connect, and the 4 ways to connect that I mentioned before are paralleled up here. So you have community, which is the informal networking. You have mentoring programs. You have discussions. There is a resource function in here as well where we can post materials for students, and then the groups functionality. And so clicking on this community tab will bring students to that networking form of connection. And this is the view of that. And the way that I always kind of describe this is as a Netflix style recommendation bars. And each of these bars is populated with people that sort of respond to what I've told the platform about myself. And so you'll see here, the first bar is people that have been online recently on the platform. And so the idea there being, these are folks that are probably, you know, they may be there right now. And so you could message them and get a reply quickly. Below that in my screen, you'll see there's a row of people who have experience in travel and tourism. So that's something in my account, and I said this is an industry that I'm interested in. But it might show me a row of people working in Seattle if I said I was interested in working in Seattle, or any number of examples. If that's not enough, there are a number of ways at the top of the screen to filter. So users can search by industry, by location, by topics of interest. So maybe somebody is interested in discussing, you know, relocating to a new city, or exploring, you know, a new career shift or something like that. So there are a variety of topics of interest. You can also search by a company, function within an industry or within the world of work, and even affiliations that you might have back to the college. So if you were a member of Beta Alpha Psi as you were here, you can indicate that. And so then other students or students who are currently members of BAP might be interested in reaching out to you about that shared experience. So lots of ways to sort through people. And let's say that you find somebody you're interested in connecting with, for example, Emily here. You can click on her name and it'll bring you to her profile. And this is where you get some more information about the contact. This is the piece, as I mentioned before, that you can import from LinkedIn if you like. And one of the neat things here is on the right-hand side, you'll also see some other similar contacts. So maybe Emily's not exactly who I had in mind to reach out to. There's some suggested folks there as well. And if Emily is somebody I want to reach out to, I can very easily click the button here to message Emily. And it brings up this screen for creating a message. And there's a lot of things that I really like here that are supportive for a student. First of all, I can jump right in and just write a note to her if I'm comfortable with doing that. But our office has also prepared several templates for students that will give them some language that they might use for common reasons that they might reach out to somebody on Lundquist Connect. And that helps them get a sense of what's the appropriate sort of degree of formality and what's a reasonable ask and things like that. And there's actually real-time feedback in this. So if I, for example, I were to write to Emily and say, hey, Emily, do you have a job for me? The system would actually prompt me and say, hey, we noticed you use the word job, maybe don't come in so hot, right? Build some rapport first, establish a relationship, and then maybe start to talk about your career. So a lot of real-time coaching, which is great because, you know, students may be on this platform in the middle of the night when they're awake and the rest of us are asleep. And so it's a great way to make sure that they can use this and find it useful whenever they're ready. Another, excuse me, another thing to note is that the system masks email and contact information. So when I send this message to Emily, it's going to go to her email inbox and she can reply directly from her email inbox back to me. So we don't have to interact through the platform, but nobody's email address or phone number or anything like that will be revealed to other people in the platform until, in this case, if it was Emily who said, hey, why don't you contact me? Here's my email address. And then we could go forward with that. There's also some built-in scheduling and video chat functionality. So you'll see here, you can request a meeting. This is a great way to avoid that back and forth of, okay, I'm available at 2 on Thursday. Does that work for you? Oh, wait, do you mean Thursday Pacific or 2 o'clock Pacific or Mountain Time, right? So I can attach a meeting invite and Emily can add that to her calendar and confirm that right off the bat. So switching away from that sort of informal networking, the other form of connection that I wanted to share with you this evening is the discussion functions. And here I've just posted an example. This is a person on the platform who's asked about work-life balance and Zoom burnout, which is, I think, a very real issue in the current moment. And you'll see that various users have posted some comments and suggestions about how to handle that. Ashley suggests changing shoes and sweater vest at the end of the day, a la Mr. Rogers. And so, there's some good dialogue there, but one of the things I really like about this feature is if you post a comment here, you can also indicate that it's something you're willing to help on. And so you can see up here, there's a couple of people that have said, yeah, I'm willing to help. And so if I'm a student or an alum reading this and saying, I'd really like to talk about this some more, I've got some ideas, or just want to sort of hash through things, I could click on one of these people's profile and it would bring me right to that messaging box. And I could write them a note and say, hey, I noticed you were willing to help people think through Zoom burnout. Here's some things on my mind. Do you have 15, 20 minutes to chat? So again, moving students and alumni right into that sort of action process or taking action. So Sarah mentioned this in her introduction, and even since we last were able to provide her data, the platform has grown. So we now have more than 570 alumni and friends on here, representing 6 continents, more than 30 US states, and about 25 countries around the world. It's been a tremendous response, and especially remembering that this is just since middle of September that we opened the platform. So we're really grateful for the response to the platform. I'm sure many of you have already joined, and hopefully others will join shortly as well. And on the student side, we've gotten some tremendous feedback as well. Some of our MBAs we reached out to in sort of a survey, and this student, Dallas in particular, has noted that safety of reaching out to warm leads, right? That it sort of signals to him that this is an okay thing to do. Another one of our MBAs is commenting on the responsiveness, and this is something that many students have observed, that they've been able to reach out to people and hear back, within hours, if not a day. And so we're really gratified by the attentiveness, right, and the excitement that folks have to hear from and respond to students. So we've set some metrics around this platform, and I thought I'd share those with you. Our goal for this academic year is to get 850 students registered in the platform. Currently, we're at about 340. And we're doing a number of things to build student users. So we're doing some broad messaging out to students. We're also integrating this into classrooms. And so in some classes, we're actually creating a requirement that students go into the platform and explore who's there and reach out to somebody. And then we're also identifying specific sort of small groups or communities within the college to reach out to. So for example, the honors program, some of our clubs and student organizations, and really working with them to understand the value proposition for their specific community. And on the alumni side, similarly, we have a goal of 700 alumni accounts. And as I mentioned, we're well on our way to achieving that already. So really excited about that. And again, it's a combination of sort of broad alumni messaging and then reach out to small communities as well. But it's not just enough to have accounts created, right? We want to actually see engagement in the platform. We want to see people interacting and making connections. And so that's the last sort of metric we have listed there, is really seeing the volume of interaction grow on the platform. And so I'm really pleased. At the moment, we already have more than 200 sort of exchanges or discussion threads that have been started between between a student and an alum. And we have about a 73% response rate. So that's going really well as well. So you can help us build this community. First of all, if you haven't already, please consider joining and making yourself available to current students and alumni, and encourage your friends and colleagues to join. Although we've been focused on recruiting alumni into the platform, non-alumni who are interested in helping out Ducks are most welcome. So I thank you for your time and interest, please feel free to reach out to me with questions. You can find me on Lundquist Connect, and you can also find my details on the Lundquist website. And I will pass the mic back to Ryan, who's going to introduce some of the students that are joining us this evening.
Okay, thank you, Chris. That sounds like a great program. Really interesting. I'm kind of blown away by all the features in Lundquist Connect, so that's great. Now we get to the fun part. I get to talk to two of our very best students about their experiences with remote learning over the last couple quarters. I want to share their background here real quick. Let's go back to the slides here for a second. So our first student is Tristan Reckdahl. Tristan is a Master's of Accounting student. He is a Eugene native like myself. Graduated with his undergrad in accounting and a minor in Spanish. He's already accepted a position from Moss Adams in their Portland office in their assurance practice. And Tristan is an avid runner. He enjoys hiking and traveling. So at least 2 of 3 hobbies that are pretty good, I think, for pandemic life, right? Running and hiking. And our second student is Kristen Yo. Kristen is an undergraduate. She's actually in my class right now. So I'm sorry about that, Kristen. I hope you're surviving. Kristen is a Portland native, and she has also is scheduled to join Moss Adams in Portland in 2022 as part of their tax staff. So we have someone from insurance and someone from tax, which is great. And in her free time, Kristen enjoys playing golf, which is a sport that I love. Kristen, if we play, you're gonna have to give me a couple strokes. She also enjoys cooking and drawing. So those are our 2 students. And that said, let's get to the Q&A. Okay. All right, so Tristan, I'll start with you, but I'm gonna pose the question to both you, and then I'll pose the same question to Kristen to get her perspective. But I think the first thing I want to ask you is just, you know, how has kind of your daily routine as a student changed during the pandemic? Has it caused you to kind of reassess what you value in your life, sort of your perspective on things? And have you found yourself sort of noticing anything more, being more cognizant of anything that you previously weren't aware of as life has kind of changed during the pandemic? So I think just be interesting to hear a little bit about your experiences generally with that.
So I think the biggest thing that I've noticed has been my dependency for a schedule. I think that through all of this pandemic, there's been a lot of uncertainty with timing, and working from home has caused a lot of free time without having to be on campus or anything like that. And so I've definitely noticed that I look forward to doing things I like to do, like running and hiking, and really depend on those things throughout my day, and to make sure that I structure time to work on my work as well as fit those things in, especially since I have a lot less commitments now with the pandemic happening. And so trying to make sure I have a structured time frame to get things done and be productive is probably the biggest thing I've noticed.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Tristan. Kristen, how about you? What has your experience been like?
Yeah, I would say that my routines have also changed quite a bit during the pandemic, especially with regards to how I spend my time. I didn't think I realized how much time I spent commuting or just being on the move in the morning, that now that time is saved, I've definitely had more time to work out and do yoga, which I didn't think I had time to do before. And I think I've also found time to engage in hobbies that I kind of previously forgotten. With all the abundance of time that we spend on the screen, just finding things that are not like Netflix or YouTube, and more just drawing. And like Ryan said, I play a lot of golf and cooking more and taking walks with friends. And so finding new things to do. And I think that the most meaningful thing that I've gotten out of this pandemic has been developing more meaningful relationships with my friends. I think that I've narrowed down my social circle to kind of contain COVID-19. And so I've developed a lot of deeper friendships that I know will last with me throughout post-college and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a kind of a bonding experience. I feel the same way with the people that are in your life. So that's wonderful. Okay, so Tristan, I'm going to ask you, could you maybe describe for the people listening what your classes are like? What is sort of the different ways that some of the content has been delivered to you? while you've been learning remotely, so in the spring and this fall?
Absolutely. So throughout the spring and fall, all of my classes have been synchronized live class meetings. So everything is pretty standard with lecture styles. We do a lot of in-class problems and breakout groups. A lot of things have pretty much stayed the same. However, there's been a lot more kind of pre-class work that's been focused on doing like recorded lectures that kind of prepare us a little bit more for class to make sure that we're getting the content really down during that time frame. And something that has been really helpful is being able to revisit the recorded meetings later on throughout the term has been really helpful to go back and kind of look at those things.
That's great. I don't personally, as a professor, I don't go back and record. Just you never sound as good or are as articulate as you hope that you are. So it doesn't do anything for my confidence to watch the videos. But I'm glad that the students have that option. Kristen, what have your classes been like?
Yeah, I would agree with Tristan on all those points. My classes have been really similar, having synchronous class times, but I've also had classes that have been completely online and remote and having a lot of more self-responsibility to get things done. My Counting Through 51 class with Brady was structured that way, with everything virtual. We never had to meet him at a scheduled time, which was interesting. And now I'm also having class with Ryan, as he mentioned, great teacher. And we do synchronous classes, and that has been also really fun. I would say outside of the business school, I'm also taking classes. I'm in a psychology class right now, and it's different than business classes are without that technical component of solving problems together. It's very discussion heavy. And so that has posed to be a bit of a challenge with the 130 of us who are in that class, just a little bit of disconnect. But I think having both classes within the business school and outside of the business school has been really interesting to kind of see everything that the university kind of has to offer.
So I'm curious, I'll pose this question to you, Kristen. When you're in those classes, do you have any group projects, and how does a group project get coordinated remotely? How does that work?
Yeah, so I'm actually just starting a group project now, and in my psychology class specifically, and it's again just more breakout rooms, but it is a little hectic kind of to get everyone organized and situated. But it's been challenging, but it's also been a learning experience, and it's been nice to kind of break the class down into smaller groups to kind of get to know the students more personally.
And do you get to pick who's in your group, or does it do the thing where it sort of randomly assigns you to a breakout group and you just get new friends?
Our professor in that class specifically, she sent out a survey at the beginning asking what interested topics we were in, or topics we were interested in. And after filling that out, she kind of randomly assigned based on that survey. And so group sizes are only 4 to 5 students, which is a lot more manageable considering the grand scale of the class itself.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of fun. Tristan, I'll ask you this question. How have the exams been? Like, what in terms of logistics? What has the exam process been like for you remotely?
I think it depends a lot on what class you're taking. Some of the classes I've taken have been very Canvas structured. So all of our tests are either multiple choice or fill in the blank tests throughout Canvas. The current tax class I'm in was a little bit different. It was an uploaded file that we could either download or kind of edit on our computer or do through Excel. And then you had to upload a file with your answers and whatnot separately. And so it was a little bit different than others, but I'd say for the most part, most are structured as an online quiz through Canvas.
Okay, interesting. All right, so Tristan, I'll start with you with this one. So what is the thing you like most about this sort of learning in this remote environment? Because I have my own opinions, but I'm curious what you think. And what is the stuff that you miss about sort of traditional in-class college coursework?
Yeah, so I think the thing I like the most is the kind of something I mentioned earlier with the pre-recorded lectures and having the recorded meetings. It makes it really nice to be able to go back and revisit topics that we discussed in our class meetings, especially if you're covering a more difficult subject or something that is a little bit more confusing. It's really nice to be able to go back and just like listen to it a second or third time, even if it's on like a sped up version at 2 times speed, just to like rerun it through so you hear it again. I'd say that's probably my favorite part of it. It's definitely been really difficult to stay focused while just looking at a computer screen. It's a lot different than being in the classroom and just immersed in the like academic setting to be able to focus and study and be around other people that are just focused on the lectures and there to learn.
Okay, that's interesting. Kristen, what's your experience been with that?
I would agree with Kristen on that about being able to go through lectures. It's been extremely helpful. And I think another thing that I've liked about this that I mentioned before was just kind of having more control over my time and kind of how I choose to spend it. I think that studying at home does provide a little bit more relaxation than it does in the list, but definitely being in the list is something that I do miss as well. I think when we were in person, I would spend anywhere from like 8 to 9 hours in the list a day, and just kind of being with my friends and seeing professors and going to work and just kind of being in a place and having that structure was really nice, and I do miss it. I'm hopeful at least that in the spring we might have one more chance for graduation to be in person again, so we can have that experience.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I hope we get that experience. And I can say I've been working in the office for the last, well, since the summer, and it is so strange being here in the fall. It just feels like, 13th Street should be full of students, and the coffee shop should be full of students, and we should have the street fair and all that sort of stuff, and the building is empty. And so, yeah, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. But I'd agree with Tristan. I feel like, in all honesty, I think my students perform better on the technical material in the spring than they do normally, because I think they were able to go back and watch the videos over and over again. So, I think there are a lot of benefits to this. Although, Christian, you can say one way or the other how well the class is going, but I think there are a lot of positives. But you really miss those sort of happy accidents every day of running into students and running into other faculty members and sort of life advice and career advice and encouragement. That way. It's a little harder remote, but I think we're getting better at it for sure. So, anyway, Tristan, Kristen, thank you. You're both tremendous students. I know this was a big sacrifice of time, and I really appreciate it. You both did a great job. So thank you. Right, here we go. And it's time for questions. See, do we have any questions? No. I'm waiting for the questions to come in.
So Ryan, there's a training Lundquist Connect, training students on Lundquist Connect. So I'll take that if that's all right.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, thank you for the question. It's a great question. There's a sort of multi-pronged strategy on that. And so there's a number of different things we're doing. One, as I mentioned, really reaching out to specific communities. So one of my colleagues went to one of the student organization meetings earlier this week and walked their members through the platform and showed them how to log on, showed them how to access the tools. We're also, like I mentioned, working it into classrooms. And so that's another opportunity for us to introduce it to specific groups. And then more broadly, we've imported all of our students into the platform and are sending out sort of broadcast messages, not only encouraging them to join, but once they've joined, giving them tips on, okay, now you're here, what do you do next? And really getting them going. And then all of our advising team in More Career Services have this as part of their practice as they're talking with students about the importance of informational interviewing and networking. They have the opportunity to, or they'll raise that as an option as well, or as a resource.
All right, thank you, Chris. Well, I don't see any questions coming in. Here we have one. Somebody asked whether the clubs are still meeting, Beta Alpha Psi, and so on. Women in Business, I know, is meeting regularly. Yes, the answer to that is yes. The clubs are still meeting quite frequently. Beta Alpha Psi is still up and running. Our officers are doing an amazing job. They coordinated 2 of our Meet the Firms events this fall, and they are having regular meetings each week where they have guest speakers come in and speak at Beta Alpha Psi. And I know Women in Business is also doing stuff, and I'm quite sure that the other clubs are. Somebody asked how COVID has affected my bird watching hobby. I'm spending way too much time watching birds and talking about it in my class, and it's become even more of an obsession during COVID than it was pre-COVID. I love it. There's so many birds you can see here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I need to stay focused on accounting, but sometimes I get a little distracted with the birds. What advice do you have for getting an accounting internship during COVID times? It's always difficult to get an internship. The internship opportunities are limited. There's sometimes more opportunities during the, I guess it would be the spring quarter, the winter time of the year, just because of the way the cycle works for the accounting firms. But I think participating in Beta Alpha Psi is really important in terms of networking. And then just reaching out to the firms when there are opportunities, and looking at, I think the program is called Handshake, where firms will post information on the Handshake platform about internship opportunities. But it's tough. I would say, number one, when it comes to internships, do not be discouraged. It's actually easier, I think, in most cases to get a job than it is to get an internship. Internship is a wonderful experience, but it's not necessarily the be all. Are both the students seniors? They are impressive and articulate. Yeah, they are both seniors of sorts. Well, Tristan is in the master's program, so he is on beyond the regular undergraduate, and Kristen is a senior this year, and she's in my course, and yeah, they're both fantastic. How will a recruiting event be held this spring? I don't want to answer that just yet because I don't know. We did a couple Meet the Firms events in the fall virtually, which I think went off really, really well. But we'll keep you posted on how we do things in the spring. I can't wait to get back to in person because I think there's just so much benefit for both the recruiters and the students, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. All right. It looks like we've hit up against the time limit. Thank you all so much. This has been really, really fun. I look forward to seeing all of you in person soon. Our next event we are excited to announce is going to be on January 22nd at noon that day, and it's going to be on the topic of financial wellness. So I need that. After all of my losses in day trading, I need to go attend one of these seminars on financial wellness. I think that'll be helpful. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing all of you then. Take care.